I thought my inability to speak the local language was a disadvantage when I moved to that coastal resort town. I didn't realize it was the only reason they hired me. The job post was taped to a sun-bleached window of a small grocery store on the outskirts of Cabo. It was simple: lifeguard wanted, private resort. High pay, no experience necessary, but must be a fluent English speaker with zero knowledge of Spanish. At 21, broke, and looking for a way to extend my permanent vacation, it felt like a gift from God. I met the manager, a man named Mateo, in the lobby of a hotel that looked more like a fortress than a vacation spot. It was tucked behind a jagged cliffside, invisible from the main road, and surrounded by high concrete walls topped with decorative but very sharp wrought iron. Mateo was polished, wearing a suit that cost more than my car back home, but his eyes were like two pieces of flint. The interview lasted 5 minutes. He didn't ask about my swimming certifications. He asked 3 separate times if I understood any Spanish at all. I lied. I told him my Spanish was non-existent. Ebentugi D spent the last 3 months picking up enough to follow a basic conversation. He smelled a cold, practiced movement of the lips and told me I started at midnight. The night shift at a resort pool sounds like a dream, but the atmosphere at this place was off. The guests weren't families or honeymooners. They were men, serious, quiet men who arrived in black SUVs with tinted windows and sat by the pool in the middle of the night, wearing heavy jackets despite the sweltering humidity. They didn't swim. They just sat there, smoking and talking in low, rapid-fire Spanish. My instructions were specific. Stay in the lifeguard chair. Keep your eyes on the water, and never, under any circumstances, engage with the guests. If they spoke to me, I was to point out my ears and say, "No entiendo," then look away. For the first 2 weeks, I did exactly that. The pay was incredible, tripled what a normal lifeguard made, and all I had to do was sit in the dark and listen to the rhythmic sloshing of the pool's filtration system. But as the nights crawled by, the silence of the resort began to feel heavy, like the air before a massive storm. One Tuesday night, around 3 a.m., a group of 4 men came out to the patio. They were agitated. They sat at a table less than 10 feet from my chair. One of them, a man with a deep scar running from his temple to his jaw, looked at me with a predatory intensity. He asked his friend in Spanish, "Does the kid know what we're saying?" The other man laughed, a dry, rasping sound. Mateo checked him. "He's a tourist. He's deaf to the world. We could tell him exactly where the bodies are buried and he'd just offer us a towel." A cold shiver raced down my spine, settling in my gut like a lead weight. I kept my face blank, staring at the turquoise water of the pool, praying that my heart wasn't thumping hard enough for them to see it through my shirt. They began to talk business. It wasn't about hotels or tourism. They talked about shipments, the border, and cleaning the basement. My blood turned to ice as I realized I wasn't working at a resort. I was a prop. I was the innocent witness who couldn't actually witness anything because I supposedly couldn't understand the language of their crimes. I was their insurance policia, a piece of furniture that breathed. The turning point came an hour later. The man with the scar stood up and walked to the edge of the pool. He pulled out a heavy, silver-plated handgun and began checking the chamber right in front of me. Then, he dropped a small, leather-bound notebook. It skidded across the tile and hit the base of my lifeguard chair. The air felt like it had been sucked out of the world. He looked up at me, his eyes boring into mine, testing me. "Oy flaco," he said. "Dame son hey, skinny. Give me that." I knew exactly what he said. Every instinct told me to reach down, grab it, and hand it back. But I remembered Mateo's warning. I remembered the no entiendo rule. I looked at him, tilted my head with a confused, slightly vacant smile, and pointed at my ears. "I'm sorry, man," I said in my flattest American accent. "I don't speak the language. Do you need a drink or something?" He stared at me for what felt like an eternity. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant crashing of waves against the cliffs. Slowly, his expression softened into a look of bored contempt. He spat on the tile, reached down, and grabbed the notebook himself. "Pendejo," he muttered, turning back to his friends. "He's an idiot." We're safe. I survived that night, but I didn't sleep. The next morning, I didn't even pack my bags. I left my clothes, my laptop, and my pride in that rented room. I took my passport and my cash, walked to the bus station, and bought a ticket to the furthest city I could think of. I never went back for my final paycheck. I didn't want Mateo or the man with the scar to have any reason to look for me. It's been 2 years now, and I'm back in the States, working a boring office job. But sometimes, when I'm in a crowded place, and I hear someone speaking rapid-fire Spanish behind me, I freeze. I keep my face blank. I pretend I don't understand a word, because I know now that in some circles, being an idiot is the only thing that keeps you alive. And I still wonder what was in that basement they were talking about cleaning.